This episode is brought to you by Meow Wolf. Because every month at Meow Wolf Denver is out of this world, but April is all for you, Earthers. Explore a playground of imagination, art, and storytelling with extra immersive goodness all month long. Experience ethereal events like Bedtime Stories, Lust and Bloom, a neo-burlesque extravaganza on April 12th, an Earth Day party on April 22nd, and Absolute Rubbish, a trash-to-treasure fashion show on April 30th. Their description says a seat so close you can practically taste the trash. Chewy. Learn more at meowwolf.com. That's meowwolf.com. Today on CityCast Denver. The state GOP booted a Denver reporter out of their big assembly in Pueblo over the weekend, which sucks, but will voters care? Me and producer Paul Caroli are talking about freedom of the press, plus a new report about how Cherry Creek is becoming the new downtown, and a years-long pizza beef comes to an end. Today is Tuesday, April 9th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Bree.
You have a wind story. It was wind. I mean, let's be realistic. It was so windy, and this is what we were all talking about all weekend. Some people are still talking about it because their power's still out. But
yeah,
what was your wind experience?
Well, fortunately, my power didn't go out. But
Same.
You know how on Friday I said I was planning to bike to Boulder?
Oh my God, I forgot about. You didn't try to do that, did you?
Yeah, we did.
Jeez.
I don't know. I didn't think the wind was going to be that bad or something.
Really?
Yeah, no, I was wrong. Obviously, we got to Broomfield in 4.5 hours of biking into direct headwinds off the Flatirons.
You went that far?
It was, I mean, we kept looking at each other like, it's all right. I guess we could keep going. You know,
were afraid.
This is what we're doing today.
We were like monitoring. We don't usually monitor Boomhauer when we let him out to go to the bathroom in the front yard. We were monitoring. We're like, what if he gets blown away?
He might have gotten blown away. This is a small dog.
So you rode back?
We rode back on the bus. Yeah, because we got to Broomfield and we just looked at each other and were like, this is horrible. It's been 4.5 hours. It was supposed to take 3.
I can't believe.
We might not even get to the Walnut Cafe before it closes.
I'm just impressed that you even got that far.
Yeah. It was an interesting day. It was an adventure. It was an adventure for sure.
Well, try again.
I do want to try again a little bit, but that bike trail, I don't know if you've ever heard of anyone biking to Boulder for pleasure.
No.
It's not nice. It just goes right along
on
36 for like a long time. In my mind, from being in a car on that route, it's not that far, but on the bike, it's like big hills and a long, long way.
I've seen people biking on it and been like, that does not look fun. So when you said that, I was
not fun.
More power to you. But maybe you'll try another day when it's not as windy. We need to address just a quick correction before we move on today. We neglected to cite our source on last Friday's show. We were talking about Love is Blind shooting here in Denver, and Elena Alvarez at Axios had been all over that story. So sorry, Elena, that we neglected to mention you in the show, but also we just want to make sure that folks know we cite sources for everything as well in the show notes. So if we did talk about something and you missed it or you wanted to know more about it, always check our show notes because we usually have direct links to stories to all the reporters around the city that do awesome work that we get to talk about.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into those, and I hope it's a good resource for people.
Yeah. So there's that. Also, gardening?
It's time. It's time to start thinking about gardening. I'm certainly thinking about it with all the weeds popping out of my garden. So, I guess it's time to work on, if nothing else.
Start your laborious, quote, hobby of gardening. I admire all of you that enjoy it, but there are a lot of you out there.
Yeah. And we want to know what kind of questions you got this year. We're going to have our gardening expert, Anne-Marie Awad, back in a couple of weeks to answer all your burning questions. If you want to take on a new project, I'm sure Anne-Marie's got ideas, but any questions you got, any thoughts you got about gardening here in Denver, Anne-Marie can help.
Awesome.
So let us know.
Anne-Marie has been on top of it. I've been watching their Instagram.
Oh, really?
Wow. Anne-Marie will know. You have a question, they've got it.
Let us know, 720-500-5418, or email us, denver@citycast.fm.
So our first story it happened over the weekend. This is about a reporter here in Colorado, Sandra Fish, who works for the Colorado Sun. She was escorted out of a GOP event in Pueblo this weekend. Paul, what happened?
Yeah, this is turning into I think a bigger story than even it felt at the time. What happened exactly is that Sandra Fish, like you said, politics reporter for the Colorado Sun, she was in Pueblo at the state fairgrounds on Saturday for the state GOP's party assembly. They're choosing their nominees for a variety of positions, like who's going to go represent Colorado at the Republican National Committee, stuff like that.
But there's been a lot of attention on this area of the state over the last couple of months because of the races involving Boebert. So Representative Boebert, excuse me. So I can see why this may have been higher profile than other years.
Yeah, I mean, Florida Rep. Matt Gaetz.
Oh, goodness.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, big Trump guy. He was the one who led the problem with all those votes for Kevin McCarthy in Congress. Remember
That's right.
The speaker votes?
Yeah.
He was one of the big holdouts.
So he was there.
And he was there
Pueblo.
in Pueblo, puffing up Dave Let's Go Brandon Williams, the GOP party chair, and Lauren Boebert. Both of them were there as well. It's kind of their party, as far as I can tell. I think that wing of the party really owns
this event.
the party and owned this event. That was my impression. But during the proceedings, about an hour in, a sheriff's deputy confronted Colorado Sun reporter Sandra Fish and escorted her out because the chair of the party, Dave Williams, the aforementioned Dave Let's Go Brandon Williams, found her, quote, current reporting to be very unfair. According to the Sun, Williams responded on Sunday to the Sun's request for comment on this whole affair. He called Fish a, quote, fake journalist and accused her of sneaking into the event, despite that she received press credentials at the door. And so that's a little bit confusing because apparently she had applied for press credentials last week, then she got them, but then the Saturday of the event at like 3 a.m, she got a text that said, we're taking away your credentials. You're not allowed to come.
What is this? You're uninvited to my birthday party? You're sending it via text. I mean, I'm sorry. If I was Sandra as well, I'd be like, via text message? Please, I'm showing up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just guessing, but what may have happened there is like you see a list of approved journalists goes in front of a person who hadn't seen it before, and maybe some opinions come out that hadn't been part of the review process for the party. Sure. But the Sun, according to Williams, is, quote, just an extension of the Democratic Party's PR efforts, and the only backlash we see is from the fake news media, radical Democrats, and establishment rhinos who hate our conservative base and who always look for opportunities to bootlick the crooked press, or pundits who hate the true Republicans and President Trump. So that's what Williams says why he did it.
I just love that fake news media and fake journalists just mean journalists I don't like.
Yeah.
Like that's what it means to me, because Sandra Fish is sort of a journalist to me. She's been doing it for over 2 decades. Within journalism circles, she runs a women journalist group. She's kind of a mentor to a lot of folks. I would not call her a fake journalist, I would say.
No, I would call her one of the most respected journalists in the city.
Absolutely. So that's why this strikes me as a little strange. But I agree with you, Paul, in that someone else along this process looked at that list and is very versed on journalism here and went, oh, no. Yeah. And that's why it was sort of late in the game.
I mean, you might speculate and look at some of her past coverage. What is he finding so offensive? Maybe it was her coverage of the fact that he was not able to fundraise very much, when he came into the party chair and that the GOP was struggling for funds for a long time.
Which is just rooted in probably campaign finance reports you just can look at and say they did or did not raise money.
Yeah, which is her specialty.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question is, reading this story or thinking about this, is this legal? Can you just kick anybody out?
I think so. I think this is a private event.
True.
There was a comment here on X from the Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition. They say booting a credentialed journalist from a political party assembly, especially one who represents a statewide news organization like the Colorado Sun, undermines the vital role of the free press and directly impacts thousands of Coloradans who rely on the Sun for coverage.
Yeah. So that's the thing, too, is maybe folks reading the Sun want the GOP coverage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the Sun also private organization. I don't think the GOP has an obligation to let anyone into their event or not. Just now, that's the law. Maybe that's not the right or wrong thing. And I think maybe voters are going to take away what they want from this.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll see this and think, oh, Dave, Let's Go Brandon Williams is taking another leaf out of the Trump playbook, the autocrats playbook, and consolidating power and being less transparent. And I don't know. We know where that road leads.
Do we know if the sentiment that Let's Go Brandon Williams is shared in this experience with Sandra Fish as a reporter, is that shared across the GOP in Colorado, or have we heard from other folks in the party about Sandra's coverage?
It's been divided as the party itself is. I mentioned Matt Gaetz was in town. So after the event, he posted a photo of himself with Williams. So this is after the Sandra Fish stuff had already been spreading around. Gaetz says, it's easy to see why President Trump endorsed @Rep Dave Williams. Dave is America first to the core and will do great things for our military veterans and taxpayers. He has my full support and endorsement. Let's get Dave elected. Williams is, of course, running for Congress while he is chair of the party. Some people have been complaining about that.
There's been some questions about the ethical nature of that.
Yeah. Again, the Trump playbook.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Trump guy.
No rules. Just right. Just like Outback Steakhouse or whoever's that.
But one interesting comment here came from No Rules Outback Steakhouse. What is that?
Who's
No
the
rules,
slogan
just
is No
right.
Rules, Just Right.
I was going to blow right past that. I have no idea. What is that?
I'll Google it.
Nike? That's not Nike. Burger King?
No, but Burger King is BK, have it your way.
have it
You
your way.
rule. Because
You rule.
my toddler loves that commercial.
Here was the comment we should talk about. This is from Republican state senator and former congressional candidate for CD8, which is up north, Barb Kirkmeyer.
Oh, yeah.
Kirkmeyer writes, Sandra Fish is a fair, honest, and respected reporter. As a Republican, I'm embarrassed for the GOP chair. As a state senator, I'm stunned by the blatant disregard for our Constitution, and by a former legislator, no less. Disgusting.
I think we're just seeing the two very clear ideologies within one party, which is the non-Trumpers and the Trumpers.
Yeah. And maybe you'd say one side respects like the traditions and norms of politics and still believes that that's the way they want to do things. And the other side is more like, those old systems don't work for me anymore. Yeah. I'd rather try to win votes by sticking it in the eye of my opponent instead of talking to them.
What I'm assuming the Colorado Democratic Party had to have a say in this or said something publicly because, we are in the season. Well, this has been interesting. I mean, this got coverage beyond Colorado. The Guardian wrote about it. I think it's just part of this cycle in Colorado in particular. People are watching our elections and how things are going. And I don't know, Paul, we're deep in this right now because we're working on something special, but maybe that's why I'm thinking even more about it. It's fascinating stuff.
It is. It's election year. It's getting fun.
I just want to let you know that No Rules, Just Right is Outback Steakhouse's slogan from 2013. It's something they established in 1988 when they opened their first location, where they stood by their no rules, just right mentality. Outback Steakhouse's team takes food seriously without forgetting any of the fun, knowing that nothing stands in the way of making you happy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks for making sure we get that right.
Welcome. You're welcome. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, some more news. This episode is brought to you by Pine Melon, the farmer's market delivered. Pine Melon is a next-generation grocery delivery app that partners with over 200 farmers, ranchers, and producers in Colorado to help make fresh, locally sourced foods available to the Denver community at fair prices. Get high-quality meats, eggs, and dairy from small local farms, fresh baked breads from local bakeries, and more, as well as all of your favorite pantry staples. Best part is, Pine Melon offers same-day delivery to Denver and soon Boulder within a 2-hour window, no subscription necessary. Save time in your busy schedule and get fresh and healthy groceries delivered right to your door. Join the movement and support local today. Use promo code CityCastDenver for $75 off your first delivery at pinemelon.com. That's pinemelon.com. This episode is brought to you by Meow Wolf. Manifest unique family memories at Meow Wolf Denver. Quantum travel is the most comfortable way for Earthers of all ages to explore a playground of imagination. And why visit just once when this immersive experience reshapes every time you enter? C Street is my favorite because C Street has this vibe of like 80s dystopian. There's like slime coming down the walls and there's weird posters. And then, of course, the secret club. With the annual Portal Pass, drop by Convergence Station as much as you want for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets. So if you plan to go twice, it's worth it. Plus, enjoy discounts, special offers, and so much more. Get the annual Portal Pass and spend quality space time with your favorite Earthers today. Learn more at meowwolf.com. That's meowwolf.com. Okay, and we're back. This has to be one of both of our favorite topics.
100%.
Real estate in Colorado, real estate in Denver, particularly different areas of Denver. We're going to say downtown, Cherry Creek. This is some fascinating stuff.
It really is. And I feel like for me, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we're going to talk about this story from the Denver Post about development in Cherry Creek specifically. But it's been almost exactly a year since our Cherry Creek week where we went into this.
Oh, you're right. Because we're doing some stuff with Transportation Solutions again later this month, which was the group that we worked with and did that whole week on Cherry Creek, which was about
growth,
change,
anxiety,
real estate, land value, what things mean to people, what parts of the city mean to certain people. And this story was really, I don't know, I think it taps into that a lot. And it's about, it's from the Denver Post, and it was about office vacancy downtown is at 23%. But less than 5 miles away in Cherry Creek, the vacancy is only 8.5%. This is in the same city, Paul.
Yeah, tell me about this. What's happening here? Well,
I think the question was, how can real estate desirability differ so greatly within the same metropolitan area, right? We're under the same municipality. We're not that big of a city, and that those things could be so disparate. But it was just this really interesting look at like what makes Cherry Creek so desirable. In fact, it's so desirable that they spoke to a real estate expert who said, with high-end retail, numerous dining options, we know that's kind of a problem downtown, executive housing, premium hotels, and multifamily housing, all attached to a robust business district, Cherry Creek represents a, quote, super unique concentration that is hard to replicate. But the other thing that this real estate expert said was that Cherry Creek buildings are 99% leased before they are even delivered.
That's it's like a different world than downtown right now.
Absolutely like a different world. There were a couple of factors at play here. We're going to talk about the surface ones really quick before we get to the deeper thing. But
what you really think's happening?
Yeah, because the things that were said was like, well, they have smaller office sizes, so smaller companies can rent. There's more opportunities for more companies to rent space in Cherry Creek because they're not, like I'm thinking about in the building that we're in downtown, sometimes a whole office will be a whole floor. Yeah. Well, if you're a startup, you don't need a whole floor, but you need someone to build out that space enough for you to just be in a little corner of it.
Yeah, so smaller space is a little bit more flexible. Different types of organizations could find it useful. This hybrid work thing is still happening, so a lot of places just don't need that much space. And that's one of the things that they say is like what it's at the heart of this. And I found some really interesting comments from Matt Joblon, CEO of BMC Investments. His company's already invested $1 billion into Cherry Creek. And you may recognize his name because he is the CEO of a place that we talked about recently, the private members club, the Clayton Members Club. So he has a lot of vested interest in this part of the city. Yeah, Clayton Members Club and Boutique Hotel, which is right there smack in the middle of Cherry Creek North. And yeah, so this guy's clearly a mover and a shaker in Cherry Creek, this Joe Blon. Well, he says the quiet part out loud, which is the why is one simple reason, and it is safety. There is no crime here, and there is no homelessness. You can't sell anything unless people feel safe. Your safety is fully insured in Cherry Creek. How do you feel about that, Brie? I've said this time and time and again. Safety is so subjective. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, this is very coded for you don't see homeless people. There's no homeless people, and
folks often equate homelessness to crime. We've talked about this a lot recently. And he's saying no homelessness, no crime. We don't have that problem in Cherry Creek. So that's what downtown's problem is.
Is he right?
I think to a certain extent, for sure, because you can wander around and see that
it's not as visible.
The differences, for sure. I just struggle with this because also I've been sort of an apologist for Cherry Creek as a person that worked as an employee at the mall for a long time, working among other working class folks that also represent people that are in that community. But I think that I don't know. I'm so uncomfortable with this part because I just think that it's partially true, but I want to know why. Is it fair? Like, are we handling these things in a fair way? Is this just like about like hiding people and that makes it more attractive? I don't know.
Yeah. How did it get that way? Why is that? Why aren't the people who are hanging out on the street downtown doing the same in Cherry Creek? Is there private security? Are there other rules?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well, think about even with the mall. There's a lot of private security at the mall, in and around the mall. You will not. There's tons of little areas around the mall where you could potentially kind of like camp out or hang out. Those parking lots are huge. I know that mall all around pretty well. It's right along the Cherry Creek. You don't see any unhoused folks.
Yeah, that's true. And you do sometimes see people on other parts of the creek.
Yeah.
Even further upstream than that, too.
Absolutely. And so I think that that's a huge part of it, is the security that they have around there. Eliminates that. And that makes it attractive to businesses. There's basically, it's like almost like a waiting list to get into Cherry Creek versus downtown, which at one point in the last 6 months had a 30% vacancy rate versus this 8.5%.
8.5 is unbelievable.
It's wild. And there's 4 new office buildings under construction and 16 more projects in the planning stages in Cherry Creek. And while that means that there's millions of square feet potentially still available, they're going to run out of room at some point. I mean, Cherry Creek's not.
Are they?
I mean, Cherry Creek's not that big. Part of it, one of the things that they talk about in this article is it's kind of walled in. And there's the country club.
Oh, so they couldn't expand further that direction.
They can't expand the Cherry Creek footprint much more versus downtown, where I think there's still a lot of like empty parking lots and stuff, not to mention whole empty buildings in default.
True.
So Cherry Creek may only be able to expand so much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that plays into why it's more desirable too. It's like more exclusive.
It's absolutely more exclusive, I think, too, not just in the sense that you're talking about with like the limited space, but it offers retail that isn't offered anywhere else, right? That's what Cherry Creek has been known for, is high-end retail, both in the mall and in Cherry Creek North. Like there's not an Hermes store downtown, but there is one in Cherry Creek. And that also makes it attractive to tourists. I'm pretty sure it's one of the top tourist attractions in the state is the mall in Cherry Creek North. People come to shop.
Which is so funny.
They come to shop in fancy stores.
Area. I guess so.
But I mean, I think about it. When I went to San Francisco, I go shopping. When I go to New York, I go shopping. And we happen to be one of those places too. So that makes it more desirable, right?
It's never occurred to me that would be a out-of-stater destination.
Really?
Yeah, Cherry Creek shopping. I guess so, though. I mean, it is a very nice mall. And the outdoor mall, when it's nice out, is beautiful.
Yeah. And when I worked there, especially at the Gap, we got a lot of folks, international folks during holiday breaks and spring break and stuff that would come in just to buy merchandise that specifically said Gap on it that they couldn't get like in Europe. So that was like a big part of the customer base seasonally. But one thing I do want to mention that also I think is something that Cherry Creek faces that downtown doesn't as much is parking sucks in Cherry Creek. Parking has always sucked in Cherry Creek, is a consistent problem. There are conversations. We did that whole show talking about transit be able to be better maybe. I think downtown still has better access to transit. So it does have some opportunities. Be interesting to see if those things play into this.
My mind's racing right now thinking about how Cherry Creek's different from downtown. What an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Well, something we'll keep watching, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we hear from you, our dear listeners.
Have you heard about T-Mobile Home Internet Lite? Yes, Internet Lite. Someone actually thought making light internet was a good idea. What does Internet Lite mean? It means it's internet, but not full-on internet. It means when you hit your allotted data, you get throttled to dial up like speeds from the 90s. And that means you can be downloading a video game and boom, you get throttled. Nobody wants that. You want strong, fast, reliable internet. You want Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFAX.
This episode is brought to you by ShipStation. If you run an e-commerce business, you know how much work it takes to produce something great while dealing with complicated shipping issues. That's why over 130,000 companies have turned to ShipStation, an innovative tool that allows you to focus less on shipping and more on building your brand. With ShipStation, you can manage orders, label printing, reporting, and customer service on one easy-to-use dashboard. You'll reduce warehouse costs with reliable enterprise solutions and save thousands on shipping costs with discounts up to 89% off. Plus, you can effortlessly import orders from everywhere you sell online. So, turn your shipping challenges into opportunities for growth. Go to ShipStation.com and use code POD to sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code POD.
And we're back. We always love to hear from you, our brilliant and hilarious listeners, about things you care about. And every Tuesday, we try to share a comment or answer one of your questions that comes through the CityCast Denver hotline. Before we get to the email that we want to share today, Paul, I think you need to share a little bit of a backstory to make this make sense.
Yeah, this is so funny that we get to keep talking about this ridiculous thing that I did a few years ago. I can't believe that this is happening and that, anyway, here's the backstory. So a few years ago, probably like 5 years ago, I made some hats. I got some green hats from the Army surplus store and I bought some iron-on patches in the shape of pizza slices. And I put the slice on the hat and I wore it and I liked it.
For newer listeners to the show, Paul is a pizza freak.
It's something I like.
It's something you love.
Yes. So I was wearing I was wearing the hat at a pizza place up in Longmont, Rosalie's, and the owner came over and commented on it, and I was like, "Yeah, I made it myself." And they were like, "That's so cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I'd be happy to make more if you want one." And they were like, "Yes, bring 2 by next time you come in." And I did so, and then they did not buy them. They said, I'd give you a pizza for one, but we had agreed on a $20 price, and they said, "No, not doing that. No sale."
Oh.
I think they bought one of the agreed on 2 hats.
But you made these specialty for them.
Yes. And I'm honestly, at this part of the story, I feel my memory's not good enough of this initial interaction, clearly. But I told that story on our podcast a couple of years ago.
Was it our pizza one?
One of the Pizza Week episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll link to the Pizza Week episodes if you want to hear it in context.
So I told that story, put Rosalie's pizza place a little bit on blast. You know, I think they maybe didn't come off great in that story, but also I don't know if I did either. Anyway, I got an email on Friday.
Yeah.
From Rosalie's Pizza.
Oh.
James and Amy Ross, the owners, they write, "Hi. Hey, great podcast and crew for it. You still got those hats? I will buy them. Sorry about that.
Oh.
My bad. I think I was just taken off guard and money and pizzerias and COVID.
Oh.
Don't always go hand in hand. But I owe ya, or at least a dinner next time you're in town. Please say hi. My sister Jenny Ross Caster sent us the podcast and we loved it. Keep up the good work. Cheers."
Oh my gosh. What a nice sort of end to this story, Paul.
Well, I thought this was pretty sweet. And also shout out to Jenny Ross Caster for spreading the good word about the pod.
Do you still have that hat?
I unfortunately don't. I do have another one that doesn't fit me as well because I made a few. And then I drove around them with a few of them in the trunk of my car for a while. I don't know why I thought I might.
You just be you'd be like doing a trunk sale of just one hat on the side of the road.
2 hats.
Just like there's this guy just like selling a hat on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we just need to go eat some pizza there.
We should. I'd like to meet them and talk about this with them in person because it sounds like they took this well, and that's certainly how I feel about it now too. And I do like their pizza.
Well, James and Amy Ross of Rosalie's Pizza, thanks for reaching out. You can reach out to us anytime, even if it's for a show we did 2 years ago. You can call us on the CityCast Denver. Any episode hotline 720-500-5418. Leave us a voicemail with your name and neighborhood and anything you want to talk about that we've talked about in the last 3 years now, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. Well, I think that's it. Thanks, Paul.
See you next time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell Representative Matt Gaetz about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. My dentist gives you nitrous if you want for your major dental work, which I'm stoked about. Complimentary nitrous.